Okay, we'll go ahead and call this Board of Supervisors meeting to order on August 20th. And I've asked Supervisor Ron Campbell to lead us in the pledge.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Campbell. We'll now go to agenda item 1B, call to the public. Is there anyone that'd like to address the board? Good morning, Miss.
Good morning. Irvin Talley from the Probation Department. I would like to quickly introduce two of our newest employees. Been with us for a few months now. You got Jasmine Altamirano. Would you stand, Jasmine? This is Jasmine. She's takes care of our juveniles and a few adults right now for us. And this is Destiny Chavarria, and she's our other adult officer. And I just wanted to introduce those to the county. And while I'm here at the podium, I would like to take the opportunity to I want to thank the board and Derek for all the work and he's put in, all of you guys have put into helping our department, making us feel included, including us in the county. And I know maybe sometimes people ask you for stuff and then you don't hear from them again till I want you to know that's not us. I want to know that we appreciate all that you have done for our department. We're kind of an odd duck when it comes to finances and a part state, part county system. And I just I wanted to express my thanks to the board and to Derek for everything you've done for our department. I want to just leave you with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You guys are part of the Greenlee County family and welcome to Greenlee County. Thank you.
Tony.
Morning, Tony Hines, Fleet Manager. I'd like to introduce you to our newest Tech 2 mechanic for the fleet shop, Stephen Galvin. He comes to us with 10 years of commercial experience, a few more years of just odds and ends after that. And he's been there for 6 weeks, been a good addition to our crew so far.
Great. Good.
Thank you. Welcome, Stephen. Yes. Oh, no, go ahead.
Jean Swanison in the engineering department. And I just wanted to thank the IT department because I was down there after they had the thing that even got through to me in the news of the Microsoft glitch. And I talked to, I think it was Adam, who said you had to spend an all-nighter. I don't think we always realize how much effort it takes so we don't notice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. Good work.
Mr. Cervantes.
Mine is red. It's clown juice. It's sorry.
Keep you ready.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Daniel Cervantes, Clifton resident, Greenlee County resident. I want to thank the board for agenda item 4. Mr. Tony Hines, Public Works Facilities Fleet Manager, will be sharing his intent to seek permission to purchase several vehicles from Tempton Chevrolet, a Safford Clifton auto dealer. Mr. Hines is a very qualified employee person who always gives the board and supervisors good advice. Although my father Victor sole and only vehicle was a 1952 Ford, flathead Ford, which he left to me before he died. Father Victor preferred Fords, not Chevrolets. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. For that tip.
Okay. Thank you. Is anyone else in call to the public? If not, we'll go to agenda item 2. The Board of Supervisors will convene as the Board of Directors of the Greenlee County Public Health Service District, and after order of business, will reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. A consent agenda.
I so move that we approve the consent agenda as posted. I'll second that.
Have a motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes. We are now convened as the Board of Supervisors and we'll convene as the Board of Directors of the Greeley County Flood Control District, and after order of business, we'll reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. A, consent agenda.
So move that we approve the consent agenda as posted. I'll second that.
We have a motion and second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We are now convened as the Board of Supervisors and we'll go to agenda item 4, Mr. Hines, Public Works, Facilities and Fleet Manager.
Good morning, Tony Hines, Fleet Manager. We're looking for permission on these items to purchase the vehicles that we went out for bid for. Item A would be purchase the 2 PPV SUVs for the Sheriff's Department through Kempton Chevrolet, who again was our only bidder this year, in the amount of $128,801.50 for both vehicles,
For both or for individually?
both vehicles together. Not upfitted, just the vehicles.
I tell you what, and I know we talked about this, it's sticker shock, but that's all right.
Very much.
We still have to.
That's a.
Yes.
Why do you feel that nobody else is bidding?
I couldn't answer that. We put it out in the paper. We have it on the website. It's out there. Ford doesn't bid anymore. We used to get some from Smith Ford in Lordsburg, but we don't get those anymore. No idea.
Just no interest.
And it could be that they're aware that Kempton's gets the bids and they don't want to bid for Kempton. So as long as we get Kempton's, we're happy, we're good.
And just confirm, these are being sold out of the Clifton
Correct, yes.
facility, right?
Yep.
That's all the questions I had.
Yeah,
Okay, it's all covered. Well,
You
with that
bet.
said, I so move that we're gonna do one at a time, right?
yes.
I so move that we give permission to Tony Hines to purchase 2 PPV vehicles for the sheriff's office through Kempton Chevrolet as presented with the amount of $128,801.50.
801.50.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll, on those bids though, and it's only, we only get them from Kempton, State Fleet doesn't even, I mean, not the state,
Purchase,
yeah, they don't even try or,
no.
okay. I just wondered what,
We should note, we did get a solicitation from Enterprise, the lease company again, and they sent us, all of our. And thanks to Renee, he did an actuarial analysis on, breaking down what those costs. And in this essence, if we lease them, they're running us at about 11.5% interest. And so, and we go back, and when we got those, we didn't have any choices. That was the only place we could get vehicles. But we've communicated with them, where we have the money to pay for these outright. It just does not make any sense to pay an additional 12% in interest plus an additional fee up front, fee at the back. Bubblegum usage fee, whatever it is, they're full of it, of fees. And so anyway,
Full of it, that's right.
any event, there were other people who were interested in our business, but we could not in good conscience recommend that path under our current financial circumstances and the availability of cars.
Based on the past, do you have a ETA, approximate ETA on these?
They're not given an estimated time. Our 8 to 10 weeks from before COVID is kind of shot. So we're looking more 16, 20 weeks at the most.
Well, just while we're in the discussion realm, right?
Yes,
So
you
we're
bet.
still in that discussion. I just think good information you shared, Derek, but I think having that information as part of the packet, you know what I mean? Or
Right.
maybe, I'm just saying in the future, I'm good with this, but I think in the future, being able to lay that out to say, all right, here's our bid from Kempton if we purchase it outright. And here's what the total cost of ownership would be, you know, what I mean, if we were to lease them. And just so we had that comparison rather than
Okay.
just explaining it.
Yes, I think it gives us validity on our decision and, you know, unfortunately, we need that sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we would prefer. Thank you, and if there's not any further discussion, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion passes. We'll go to 4B.
4B is permission to purchase a half-ton 4x4 four-door truck for the Animal Control Department. On the bids, I had a 6-liter engine spec for that, and the half tons come with a 5.3, so, and that's perfectly fine.
Okay, and
What's the price on that?
51.
$51,144.43.
Well, I move that we approve of the purchase of the half-ton 4x4 four-door truck for the Animal Control Department through Kenton Chevrolet in the amount not to exceed $51,144.43.
Second that.
I second that motion.
Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion passes. We will now go to 4C. Thank you.
So item C would be permission to purchase a mid-size SUV, which was a Blazer in quotes for the fleet department for the checkout vehicles. Need to update one or two of those.
All right, well, I move that we approve the purchase of one mid-size SUV for the fleet department through Kempton Chevrolet in the amount not to exceed $42,693.52.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thank you. We'll now go to 4D.
So item D is permission to purchase 2 half-ton pickups for the facilities department. Originally, I had these spec'd out for a service box. But when Kempton's checked, they won't put a service box on a half-ton truck, so these are just half-ton pickups with regular beds.
Okay. So I so move that we award Kempton and purchase 2 1/2-ton pickups for the facilities department to Kempton Chevrolet at the price of $95,226.
I'll second that.
Here, motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just to clarify that amount is for
Two.
both of them.
Two.
Both.
Right.
2 of them.
Right,
not one.
yes.
That's all.
Okay, is there any further discussion? If not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We will now go to 4E.
Item E would be permission to purchase a half-ton 4x4 four-door truck for the health department. This is the same vehicle that Mr. Rutherford used to get. We purchase it, he leases it back from us, and then it's ours at the end.
Okay. Any discussion or a motion or?
I so move that we approve the purchase of the one 1/2-ton 4x4 four-door pickup for the health department. The Kempton Chevrolet at the price of $51,188.43 as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion passes. Thank you very, very much.
Yes, thank you.
We'll now go to, we just had,
Which are made out of gold.
we'll now go to agenda item 5, Mr. Peer.
Thank you. We are into our second month of the new fiscal year, and since the agenda was somewhat light, thought it'd be a good time to share where we're at. Obviously, we are early in our process. There we go. Austin, would you adjust the lights? I'm not sure which ones. I thought the nice green background would look good, but it just doesn't show up at all. Any event, we have 10 projects listed. Five or 5 or 6 I would describe as more passive in that we're interacting with state agencies, and it's often to get our stuff done and wait for them to do their stuff. That's a frustrating process, but it's what we do. I'll cover the other projects first. Our Fairgrounds Park redesign. We were awarded a $200,000 grant from the United Way to assist in that park project. And then we've also received first drafts of renderings. We hired a landscape architect through a website called Upworks. Literally people from all over the world bid on those projects. And I'll show you what she's been able to produce, but it's been able to give us an idea and a focus, if you will, of where we're going with the ball fields as well as the fairgrounds altogether. One of the first projects we need to do in order to make room and rearrange things is to remove the track. We began that late last week, and I'll show you how far we've gotten. We've gotten a good deal of the inner railing down, and then the outer railing is coming down as well. We're taking it down in sections and then pulling the posts as the rail come down so that we don't leave just, posts standing out there for a horse or anything else to run into. Approximately 2/3 of the inner railing is down on the north end of the track, which is closer to the annex. And then on the south end of the track, it's also been brought down. And I'll explain why we're doing that when I show you a couple of slides. You'll see the last bullet point there is ATF. That is after the fair.
Oh, all right.
You'll see that yeah, well, it's there for, it was given to me by somebody last week, and it makes a lot of sense. This time of year, it is a full court press to get the fair ready. And that's facilities, that's rearranging things in the barn. I don't even know how long the punch list is, but it's long. And it's long. And so some of these projects some of the getting off, we're doing planning. We're meeting once a week on this project. With our public works folks, our engineer, Austin, myself, Christian Taylor, who's helping with various grant applications, and interacting with our landscape architects. We're meeting once a week, one week by email, and then the other week we meet in person, either at the facility or up here. But some things are going to simply have to wait. We've also discussed in this project the use of contractors, county employees, and temporary employees. And the track is coming down with the use of temporary employees. It allows us to temporarily expand our workforce to address some of these projects we're working on. This is the first draft rendering of the ball field and the playground area. This was her idea. And so, for example, we're not going to likely plant 2 rows of palm trees down every alley. But we do intend to have some vegetation in between the alleys. The building that is sort of 2 L's facing each other will actually be buildings that would face each of the fields. So for an announcer's booth, underneath those booths would be storage, would be concessions, would be restrooms, those types of things. This is a conceptual rendering rather than a exact plan we're going to work off of. We will work on light placement, but it does give you an idea of what will be done with that 4th quadrant, if you will, where the park is, where there's sand, volleyball, pickleball courts, playground, splash pad area, and so forth. So this at this point is more conceptual, but it gives you an idea. And one of the things we've struggled with is how does this fit on, we keep seeing what is there instead of what can be. As I indicated, let's see, I'll just look at my screen. So from this point right here, all the way around on the inner side of the track to about this point here has all been taken down. And about from this point where my cursor is now down to the road has been removed on the railing. So this whole side has been removed. We wanted to get this down before the fair because at our last junior rodeo, Dave Manus called and says, you need to come down here and see what the parking is like. And it was an interesting experience. You know, it was about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the evening, and the rodeo was, I don't know where they were at the rodeo. But the fence creates this interesting artificial barrier. And people were parked up against it. Some people were parked parallel with the arena, but perpendicular to all the other parking. It was frankly kind of a hot mess as far as parking goes. And so one of the reasons we want to get that railing down to say, what will people do if they don't have that artificial barrier? Where will they begin to park? And the rodeo that comes in for the fair is a bigger affair than the junior rodeo, although that was a hugely, widely participated in rodeo. And so that will be down. The dirt that's on the track right now has been smoothed to make it easier to drive on and park on and so forth. Eventually that dirt will be removed, all of the dirt that's on the track, and it'll be stockpiled until we get the about where this is an older picture, but we'll stockpile about in this area so it can be used to help level and then prepare the ball fields when we get to that point. But the dirt will not be lost. We're just spreading out at the moment. Down here, this entire part of the inner rail has been removed. Our goal is to bring some of this dirt down into this area for a warm-up area for horsemen with the rodeo. The hard pack that we have for a lot of the fairgrounds, especially in the backside of the arena, is too hard for horses, especially some of those high-dollar horses. And so we'll bring some of this dirt down and allow them to, like I say, warm up in this area. After the fair, we'll begin to take down the entire super here, which is a high-rise embankment that we built back when we were racing horses. And eventually I'll show you where we'll place, where the plans are to place the arena. This is the last draft that we got just yesterday from our landscape architect. There will be some changes. The next slide, you'll see my very crude handwritten notes of what will we arrange. But it gives you an idea. This is the entrance would come off of Highway 78. This would become the new primary entrance for events. This would be offset in this area and probably 3 or 4 lanes, so that as people come into an event like the fair, we can spread them out, take them in quicker, get it off the road. We would also, as you know, at this end of the road up here is the Fairgrounds Road. What we've talked about is we would block off that road to come in during an event like the fair, run them down to the south past the old bank building and the LDS church, and have everybody come north up Fairgrounds Road. And the reason that is you get the traffic and the height and the stacking off of the highway. One of the things we wanted to accomplish with this process and this redesign is to get cars and pedestrians and traffic problems off Highway 75 and put them onto our own road. So the primary entrance would be here. And then all traffic would likely exit out this way onto Highway 75. This designates where parking would be. The green would be parking. This would be the main parking area here. It would extend down to the side of the arena. There would be particularly specified parking for horses and some of those rigs with a dually truck and a long trailer can be 60 feet long. They're really long, and some of them open up to the side. So we're figuring out how to plan for the horseman crew that come in there to use that arena. This would be overflow parking. This area here where we currently have the sort of diagonal parking would be made more parallel to Fairgrounds Road and accommodate most of our fair or event parking. This area up here would be parking for the playground and fields area. And then all along the fields on the backside here, there's also single car parking. One of the things that's come up frequently is that often grandparents want to come see their kids play, but they want to be able to park in the outfield and not leave their car to do it. So that would accommodate that. The arena is not going to be here, but rather it would be to the south of the existing arena. That would serve as a warm-up area. That would serve as, they can run barrels and so forth. We've had some discussions about adding a roping chute to that arena. And then we've had some ideas that we're kicking around about how to manage traffic through here. We want to keep by and large spectators to the west of the arenas, keep them out of the horse area. Now, if David Manusa's grandkids are running on horses, I'm kind they're used to that. My grandkids run around horses, somebody's gonna get hurt. They're just not used to it. So we would keep the spectators, like I say, out of there over here, and the horsemen and other people on this side. We were working on a plan, perhaps even with a sky bridge to bridge this area so that the horsemen can go over, use the concessions, use the restrooms. When I first said it, I thought it was a crazy idea. And then people said, you know, that's not that hard to do. And so any event, we would still have dry camping over here in the corner. And then the road would come through, and youth could unload their livestock to the barn. They would not be parking down here because that'll be occupied space, but they can unload. Animals come to the fair. You hope they go home with somebody else, namely the truck heading to slaughter. But those are the ideas we're working on. Wanted to update you on where we're at.
Gary,
Yes,
is there any, on the east side of the arena, is there any, going to be, restrooms in that area? And they don't have to be big or anything, but,
there currently exists a restroom building over here. And whereas we will likely over the long haul remove the stalls that are over there and replace them with panel stalls at a location that's more convenient. The restrooms could stay over there. There are restrooms on that side of the fairgrounds already.
because, right, you know, the restrooms where they are on the west side they're great, and the improvements are fantastic, but I always wondered how come, even if there was a porta potty or something over there, for on the east side, to me, it'd be very advantageous, and so I don't know, I would be in favor of some type of restroom facility on the east side.
And you said that there is a.
There's an
restroom
existing
facility?
restroom over there right now. Is that
But
right?
it's way over there by the barn, so right, by the stalls, yeah.
It's a one man.
And it usually, you have to cross the track won't be there anymore, so. Right now, that track's, whether you like it, it is a barrier. People see it as a barrier. They won't cross the line. Okay, I just.
But that's noted.
Like
Like I said,
to
there is
plant
one over
seed.
there, but you know, we can look at other options as we develop.
I just,
Would we normally do porta johns or something out there? I mean, during the.
we
fair?
haven't,
We haven't in the past. I mean, give it birds or something, you know. You could though. Yeah, get a couple out there anyway, just to keep them from having to walk all the way, you know what I mean?
Is that existing bathroom on septic or?
Yeah.
Is it on septic?
The one out to the east is, yes, the main one that's
Yeah.
been dolled up
Is-
is on city
Sewer
sewer.
in sewer.
But
line.
that one over there is. on
Oh, it's
septic.
not? Not yet?
Oh, it's
It
not.
will be.
Okay, just a thought.
I appreciate it. Sometimes when we're busy with our heads down in the weeds, we don't think about such things, so.
You're not old enough yet.
Woman with the
Can I-
ball field.
Before we move on, I just wanted to wait. So I think the artist rendering and all this planning that we're doing is amazing stuff. And I think that means, you know, people outside this room need to understand, this is our big plan. And this is what we're looking to do, make some improvements. People are gonna go to the fair, they're gonna see part of the racetrack taken down, they're gonna start seeing, you know, they're gonna say, what's happening out here? What I would like to see is that we have some type of a booth there, you know, in the fair barn or whatever, just like whatever, with a couple of these artist renderings on some big boards or something to say,
Here's what
Greeley
we're doing.
County, here's our plan, right? This is our plan. And yes, you're gonna get opinions. You're gonna get opinions, and that's okay. But we are working together as a group and a team, and we've, you know, working with those that really know the fairgrounds and know the, you know, the operations and stuff. But But this is our grand plan. And I think having a couple of big boards out there to kind of show this artist rendering of what we're going towards. I think it'd be interesting for people to see, to say, hey, Greenlee County's doing something and look, they're gonna be, building some things for the kids and they're making improvements and all that.
I appreciate you mentioning that. That was actually on my agenda to talk about. That is exactly our goal as well.
Good.
I sent this hand-drawn thing to Christian yesterday. She will get it to our architect. And I'd like something exactly like this with the markers filled in with actual drawings. And we want to have posters up, not just in the building, but around the fair as well.
And maybe it is just maybe a slideshow, you have a projector against the wall or something and just kind of rotate through a few of the pictures, rather than print them out. That's just
Well,
And the future and.
Yeah.
Hey,
we will have something
Yeah.
so that the public can look at this. We think it'll help build momentum for it, but it'll also give, like I said, give folks an idea of what we are intending to do. We've received quite a bit of positive feedback from the work we've already done on the rodeo area and the ideas that we're putting out there. That community seems to be very pleased with the direction we're going. And so, yes, that is on our plan, but I appreciate your mentioning it because it does need to be out there.
I think having even somebody there that might be able to explain it a little bit, I think would be great.
Okay.
Great PR for Greenlee County that we are looking at the future and trying to make improvements, with tax dollars.
Well, one last thing on that restroom that proposed restroom on the east side that Supervisor Lunt just mentioned. Is there gonna be restrooms over there by the facilities of the ballparks and the park and everything over there?
Yes, so there'll be a restroom facility likely in the middle. And then we have an existing restroom. The building itself needs to come down. It's in bad shape, but the septic is still good. And so we would probably keep that septic, at least that's been our talk at this point, keep the septic and restroom out here at the end of the playground, but there'll also be a centralized facility there. Yes.
Yeah, good. And I couldn't agree with Ron more about, very few people realize the plans that we have for Greenlee County, and I think it'd be great PR. I think it'll, like you say, Mr. Rapier, it'll build momentum, it'll build excitement, and
it'll garner a few opinions. I mean,
We'll get opinions, certainly.
I'm already hearing them.
But
When
we have a team that is focused on making these improvements.
When we moved the carnival from the north side of the parking area closer, there was some very strong opinions about that. And you usually only get to hear the ones that don't think it's a good idea. But on the whole, it's worked out well. And so, and I agree, we will get some opinions. And quite frankly, if somebody looks at this and says, that's a really dumb idea, do it this way, it may well be the idea that we need. We're not going to be closed to it, but we will
Put a
certainly
little
welcome.
suggestion box there. I mean, they can
Absolutely.
write some stuff down, get in there.
Talk
to
Ron.
No. That's the phone number. Mr. Lunt's district right here.
But I appreciate that. Yeah, we will work on promoting this.
Okay.
I like you, Austin.
Here you see ATF shows up again. The field has been relocated, and what we thought, there's an interesting optical illusion, and Supervisor Campbell and Lund, if you have not been out there, I would encourage you to go out there. Because when we had the backstop up there originally, it appeared level. As we got out there on it, we realized that we were on a pretty steep upward slope. And so the field has been, and this isn't the best, this is a bit of an older thing, but you can see the old backstop location here. It has been moved, or the back of the field has been moved to generally this location. And so it will go third baseline out this way, first baseline. And I apologize, this is the best picture I could grab last night. But having leveled that field, if you go out there and park in the area there, it appears that the field is jutting out almost like Pride Rock from the Lion King. It's kind of interesting. but the field is level. Now, they did have a nice gully washer out there, what was it, about 2 weeks ago, David? And we discovered a duck pond. There was an area we thought was draining that it actually ponded, but it's a fairly easy fix. As we know, the tanks are there. Tony has said that once we get the fair behind us, we will get the pumps wired in, the tanks wired in, the plumbing done. And then we'll start setting the fence. We'll be hard pressed to get grass in it this season, but we probably get it going early next season. But we'll have the sprinkler system in, the fencing will be done. We already have the fencing. We will likely, unfortunately, this backstop was older and less stable than we thought it was. And it's not going to be able to reuse, but we will likely take the existing backstop from the Duncan #2 field and put it up here. So we'll have that, and we got the other existing fencing. Let's see. Yeah, we'll connect pumps, irrigation, and fence will take place after the fair. Related is the Loma Linda Park amenities. If you've been out there, there's a beautiful ramada over the playground area. We get lots of comments about it. Anybody who heads out that direction, it's gorgeous. One of the things that we're wanting to do is repurpose the tennis courts from pickleball courts. That will be primarily a matter of painting lines and getting shorter nets. We have had some reports that people are still playing tennis. Now, a lot of people like Supervisor Gomez indicating no one's seen some playing tennis out there in a long time. So we've assigned one of our team to go contact the one person they saw on the court and say, are you playing much? Because you can get probably 3 or 4 pickleball courts, where those 2 tennis courts are now. And as we've kicked around the idea, the splash pad in this area is going to be a little bit more difficult to manage, primarily because of water. We want to make sure that water that kids are playing in is safe and that there's enough of it. And so we'll work on that. A corner of that tennis area may well work for that. We don't really have an exact plan on that one yet. And then we have contacted the only person around who puts up metal buildings to replace the wooden awnings and ramada over the picnic table that are there now. We will shift it slightly to the south so we don't completely destroy the tree. There's some beautiful trees right there in the area, and a full-blown awning would cut into those. So we're going to move it just a little bit so we can protect those trees. And Tony, did you contact that contractor already about that?
Scheduling it in December
Okay, to assemble or to meet on it?
to get it all set up.
Okay,
Gotten busy in the last few months, so we're on the schedule for December.
okay. As those of you who've seen, when this fella gets started, I mean, the building goes up overnight. It's just fast. But that's where we're at on the Loma Linda Park amenities. Public Works Engineering Facility. We have a first draft of a building layout that would accommodate roads, engineering, and public works for office space. And we've got a tentative location, as we've talked about it. Ms. Reed Larson is working on the systems that go into building, electrical, IT, and so forth. Where we will likely put this is, we originally discussed putting it here in line with the garage. But and Tony, I'm not sure we've settled on this, but correct me if I'm wrong, but we're talking right now about putting it along this fence line. And the reason being is that the public could then interact with that building to the extent that they do. Now, it's not a real busy public interaction, but they would not be coming through the rest of our facilities. They would be coming through up here in this parking area, truck parking area that was established several years ago, and interface with the building from the north side. But then all of our employees could then, go out, go to the garage, go to the roads, yard, and so forth. This one we will almost certainly do mostly with contracted work. just so we can get it up, get it done. The buildings go pretty quick, but obviously finishing a building takes longer. But our anticipation is that we will do this almost completely with contract labor and services. Facilitate and acquire land for housing. I learned just yesterday that the individual we've been trying to interact with the state lands has been out, and neither he nor an assistant, they didn't let us know, and that's fine. But a new contact, I was copied on an email to Supervisor Gomez. There's a new contact down there. He seems to be interacting with us quickly. KLM file is essentially an aerial map. So one of the first goals was we wanted to see what had been done, what areas had been selected. Supervisor Gomez and I sit down and talked, and even he and I did not realize where he was talking about. And, you know, near the park, there's a bunch of flat area there. That's probably a great place to start, but there's lots of areas, and we need to find out what those other folks, what ground they had already covered. So we're pleased that we've got a fellow who's interacting with us. He did admit in his email that they've been exceptionally busy down there, but at least we're getting back and forth. So
I was to get with Reed yesterday, but being that the air was down in here, you went home to work. So I don't know if he's here today, but we need to make a phone call to that individual. He's expecting a call from us, and he sounded really receptive when him and I talked last week.
good. Once we get to the point where we've learned what has been covered, at that point, I think we need to have some serious work sessions to decide where we want to focus our efforts. And we need to early on decide how far down this road we're ready to go. Yeah, I mean, the ultimate question is, do we purchase, do we facilitate? What happens? We don't want to find ourselves at a public lands auction deciding then whether or not we bid or not. But all of that's down the road. We want to first get this interaction with this fellow going. So thank you, Supervisor Gomez. What's that?
Water first.
Well, and this is sort of a dual track thing, because we have been working on the water question as well. We have a hydrologist, it's a geohydrologist, I think. I'll get it wrong, and Reed will correct me. Yeah, it's, they study the rocks and the water, and more than just a well witch. So, but in any event, he's working on that, give us an idea of what's there. We've already reached out frequently with Cactus Water LLC to try and help determine their capacity to serve X number of homes, where that would be. So we're doing dual track there, because you're right. It doesn't do any good to buy dry land that you can't get water to.
Amen.
Yep. Landfill expansion. These notes come from Reed. The State Land Department has asked for an updated Alta survey. It's been completed. As you recall, they found lines of rocks in our proposed landfill expansion area. They were put up by the CCC back in the 30s. And those have now become historic. And so we have to go through the historic properties treatment plan to come up with a plan to mitigate that, or we're not sure what you do. Maybe you pick them up and build the landfill and put the rock. I don't know. It seems like a question that has no answer to me, but there you go. Like I said, these next are more passive in that we're interacting with other agencies. We applied for congressional directed spending on our taxiway rehab design, and that's on the east side of the taxiway, the one where we keep having cracks and so forth. Our application was not approved, and our consultant had slowed down to see if that money was going to come through. They're now back pushing, and we're moving forward with the geotech report. That's where they're drilling the holes, find out what's underneath it, see if what we need to do to establish a base that won't crack and move as much as the one that we have is. Our taxiway seal coat project. This is the one that's actually being paid for by ADOT. The contractor's been engaged. They're our American Road Maintenance. They did the seal coat the last time. And then they will, there's a pre-construction meeting in September, middle of September, to get that project up and going and underway. The lighting, you recall, they've been evaluating whether or not the existing infrastructure, electrical infrastructure will work to support the LED lighting. I'm not sure what 30% plans mean. But like I said, that's where we're at on this one. We're working with our airport consultant on getting that design done. This will not put the LED lights in. This will get the design approved so that we can go find dollars to change the lights and put the LED lights in. And then our last one is the Soapbox Bridge design project. I'm going to show you a chart that many of you is as confused as I was. We may have to get Reed in here to interpret for us at a future meeting. But essentially, this is one where we're interacting with ADOT. ADOT doesn't actually take financial responsibility, but they facilitate the design. And then we partner, we would end up putting in money as a match for the design phase. Once the design is done, then there's several sources. It's easier to go out and find the construction dollars. But the design is proving to be somewhat bureaucratic. If that doesn't make you feel warm and fuzzy, I don't know what will. But this is the process whereby we get ADOT's buy-in on a design. And I thought I had understood Reed's explanation of where we were, but to be candid, we could be anywhere up in this blue box to somewhere down here right in front of this gray box. So one of these future meetings, I'll have Reed come in and explain this where we're at. The challenge of a project like this is if we just did it, the overall cost would be less expensive than if we worked through ADOT and other agencies. But it would cost us more because we would foot the entire amount of the bill as opposed to a portion of the bill by going through this bureaucratic process. This process at our last county managers meeting a couple of weeks ago was raised by several counties about how burdensome this is. This is just it's driving construction costs through the roof. It seems to benefit nobody. And so we are unlikely to be the tail that wags the dog and affects change, but there's a growing chorus of county folks who are finding this process very cumbersome. This next slide is intended, down here is the road from, so here's the Y, down in the bottom right corner. This is the Ward Canyon Road. The Soapbox Canyon, I thought forever was this bridge. Here, just as you kind of go down in the dip, it's not. It's actually, this is Soapbox Canyon. It's labeled down here, but it's this. It feels more like a culvert when you drive over. You don't even really notice it.
It's there.
It's just, you wonder, you just don't pay attention. But that's the one bridge on our inventory that is not where it should be. So that's why this has been on our CIP for so long. But that's the process we're in. And so Reed is confident that once we have a design, then we will be able to go out and find our TAC dollars or other funds to actually do the replacement. And it would be redesigned in a way that would have more safety and a longer life expectancy. But that's where we're at on our plans. So
I'd like to make a comment on the proposed restrooms out at the fairgrounds. Just food for thought. Tony mentioned something about some of the facilities are tied into the city sewer of Duncan, correct? Correct. So while all this construction is going on, wherever there's going to be restrooms and so on and so forth, why not eliminate all those septic tanks and run a system while everything is all open after all the railing's been removed and everything, and run sewer system piping to the sewer system and get rid of all these septic tanks that are out there?
That's the plan.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
I just thought I'd mention it.
no, it's, and you're right. While one of the things that we struggle with every time we meet is that we look on the ground and we see what is, and we struggle to see what can be. So as I commented before, we watched it here in the room, where as long as that track's on the ground, we snap to it, we build to it, we orient to it. And so, one time when our meetings up there, we went and opened up a lock that's has been open in probably, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it's been, at the corner of the racetrack on the south side, where it's that high, super rise. And we just stood in between so that we could kind of see. Because when you're on the inside of the track, you don't realize that that's the very same elevation within a foot as the outside of the track. And when you begin to realize that, you realize, oh, this was man-made. It can be moved. We can do what works best for the facility. We can reimagine the entire footprint, the entire campus, if you will. But we're finding sometimes it's hard to look past what you see in front of you. So ideas like that, connecting everything to the sewer system, absolutely.
And I only bring it up because one time I asked Tony how many septic tanks are out there, and he really doesn't know. So why not take care of the problem now that we have that place all tore apart? Yeah.
Well, and on the same way, we looked at, and Tony has gone through with DVAC, and we've simply reimagined where we get power into that. And so, whereas right now we got power lines sort of snaking through the place, they're gonna bring the northern facilities in from the north, southern facilities in from the south, and the bulk of the middle of the fairgrounds won't have poles or wires. And so, but if you look at it and say, but we have a pole there right now, it's hard to say, but we don't have to. And so DVEC has been very helpful partners in that, and we're reimagining, and it takes an outside voice sometimes to say, why don't you do this or that? So thank you, I appreciate that suggestion.
You
And
know
that's all
what?
I have on that topic.
One thing I was thought of too, you said United Way gave us 200K. I think it'd be goodwill and good PR for them to say, and United Way has already committed 200K towards this project. I think the more goodwill we can get out of this thing, and maybe a few more partners would join, because they said, hey, Greeley County appreciates.
Well, we want to show them what we've done with their, as this board will recall, the board has sometimes given money and we never hear anything. We don't see anything. So we intend to report back to United Way on the progress we're making. They have been open to giving more. They have limits, annual limits, but they're willing to look at this again if the project's not done. And we would be wonderful to have a good relationship with them so that we can go back in good faith and say, hey, we could use a little more, as well as other partners.
Has there been any, there are community, the community grants, things like that, as well. Have we applied for any of those?
Christian that's her primary function. She's applied for, I think it went in last week or this week, a WIFA grant that would assist. The other one she's applied for, you recall? She had 3 different ones that she was working. We did check on the FMI community partnership grants, community assistance grants, and the window for that had closed. But we will start that conversation regardless of the timing, and we will come back to that source.
I do think that opens back up.
It does, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't communicate that to Heather or.
Yes.
So,
And I don't want to wait too long, but it would be nice to take this, just like we do with the fair, and say, look, here's our vision. We would like partners.
And when we're working with DVEC and stuff, we're planning, we're making sure that we have enough power in different areas and planning for the future, because I know that you think, man, I got oodles, and 10 years down the road, you say, man, I wished when I was doing this.
Often we'll be visiting with somebody and we hear Richard's voice back here saying, "Plant the
You
future."
know what?
No,
I'm doing my job.
We are definitely looking, you use the term plant in the future. I use the term overbuild, because there is no way that I foresee anything that's not going to have more electricity needs as opposed to less over time. And so in that regard, yes, we're looking at how we not only meet today's needs, but how we meet tomorrow's needs. And do we build the infrastructure now to meet those needs as best we can guess what they'll be.
And with technology improvements, going to LED and things like that, it's a whole lot less power to operate, lighting, et cetera, for those.
It is.
So kind of bounced up,
But computers and
yeah.
And let's not forget David Gomez Geriatric Gymnasium for dancing.
I'm gonna stay out of that one.
What the
I
heck?
don't even wanna envision that.
Cause he wants strobes.
Strobe lights.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Derek. We appreciate that. And thank all those employees that are involved with this. And with that, if there's no further discussion, we'll go now to agenda item 6. Mr. Rapier. Oh, 7,
Oh, no, six.
six.
There's just nothing new on the legislative front, so I thought we wouldn't put that there. Bianca wants to do all the talking today.
Tomorrow is WIFA. That's all I have for the rest of the month of August. Going into September, offices are closed Monday. The second, Labor Day, we do have our first board meeting on Wednesday, September 4th. County managers on the 13th. And then we moved our board meeting to the 16th, starting at 1, and CSA will be presenting that at that meeting also. Small counties on the 18th Wednesday, we will be hosting that. CSA Board of Directors on the 19th. Fair starts on the 19th and goes to the 22nd. That's all I have for September.
May I ask the other, on the 19th, on the CSA, are Mr. Gomez or Mr. Campbell, we are hosting at small counties the night before. Do any of you plan on being at the CSA board meeting on the 19th? I'm just asking.
I don't know yet.
Okay,
I-
David will be there. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
And if
Okay,
there's
thank you,
anything
because
you'd
I
like-
might need to come back for the fair, because I help weigh animals and everything else, so.
If there's anything you'd like us to include on our small county forum agenda, please let me know on that as well. They'll be covering proposals, legislative proposals for that evening, and of course, we'll send out an invite to our
Three,
three delegates that represent us in the state legislature.
okay,
So you will be there on the 18th.
I'll be there on the
The
18th,
18th,
even
okay.
at small counties, but depending on what the schedule is, generally we start weighing in animals at 6 in the morning. On the 19th, because some people need to drop off before they go to work. Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry,
On October 1st, we changed our meetings in October, so it's going to be the first Tuesday, and then the 15th will be our second board meeting. CSA Summit on the 7th through the 9th. And then Siegel was on the 3rd Thursday. WIFA on the 16th Wednesday, and then ECO, and I didn't have anything for CSA meetings because of the summit.
yeah, we generally have those at the summit. And we generally have the small counties at the summit also, so.
And that's all I have for October.
Does anyone else have anything to add to the David?
I don't.
No, I don't know.
I don't have anything right now. Okay, if there's nothing else, we'll go to agenda item 7, consent agenda.
So move that we approve the consent agenda as posted.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll
I just want to say, thank you for the department heads that brought in their new employees to meet us. So thank you very much. Yes.
and welcome. And with that, I have a motion and a second. All those, okay, all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We will now go to agenda item 8, supervisor reports. Mr. Gomez.
I don't have anything.
Mr. Campbell.
So this past Saturday, met with the Greeley County cattle growers up on the Blue. It was a very, good meeting. We were a little late getting there, but that was, saw a lot of bucks on the way up, so I had to glass them a little bit, but, and we moved some rocks off the road. We were, getting those off of the Red Hill Road, but anyway, it was very, very well attended. It was a packed schoolroom up there at the Blue. Very positive and, had a lot of really great discussion, so, and that's all that I have.
Okay, thank you. Well, the showdown, want to thank all the employees involved there. It was well attended. Numbers were down, but it was because Graham County now has their own, and we used to get a lot of almost all the Graham County this way, and now they're having their own. But the new facilities, the future there is just super bright. Tony, thank you. I got 3 comments that not one circuit blew, and it's thank you for that. I appreciate that. Just some things on the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority. We're beginning to get some projects. We sent on the conservation fund, we spent about 200 million. And we're getting over the life of the projects over 5 million acre feet of water saved on those projects. So and some of those projects are beginning to come to fruition. They're having ribbon cuttings and stuff. So that's a great thing. We also had the Eastern County Organization's annual meeting, and we sort of had a regrouping and a circling of the wagons of what has been working, what hasn't, where we were going in the future, and all the counties attended except Cochise, and I thought it was an excellent meeting. It was up in the Alpine area, and very good. Other than that, that's all I have, and that moves us to agenda item 9, adjournment. And this meeting is, there being no further items on the agenda, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.